Welcome back, everyone, for this afternoon session here. Maybe for you, if you are on the America side of the world, it's going to be morning. Welcome to you then, if it's a good morning that starts. We had already half a day of this symposium today. It was lunchtime, so I hope you took some time to meet the speakers in the breakout rooms as we are doing at each break. So we are, for those who just arrived, we are creating new rooms at the end of each session so that you can have the time to chat and discuss, ask further questions to the speakers. Do not hesitate neither to vote as well for the best open source contributions. I saw that there was already quite a lot of votes and there is already some trends, but your vote matters. Please do not hesitate to give your own opinion on that. There is, again, 6 candidates proposing 6 very cool stuff, very cool contributions, improvements of the code, tutorials, plugins. So it's exactly what we were expecting when we started this idea of having awards, is having exactly that kind of contributions. And unfortunately, we are not billionaires to award all the contributions, but sincerely this year they could all get rewarded. Before restarting to the next session, which is VR haptics and interactions, which actually I'm pretty glad to welcome today, because it's a bit aside to coupling coupled with the simulation. VR haptics gives very nice applications and results. I'd like to give you a few words about SOFA, its community, and also I'm going to give a bit of details about each award that is currently available directly available for the vote of the award. So I'm going to change back the presentation, get back to the main presentation. You should again see the slides. Perfect. There we are. So as you might have noticed from this morning, SOFA, it's an international community. We saw that a bit because we had, for instance, Professor Choi from Korea presenting his work on arthroscopy and endovascular simulation. We had as well Van Pho, who is actually Vietnamese, but in Japan, speaking in English for the SOFA project. So again, international, and some French presenters as well. This afternoon, it will be even more international because there are gonna be people from Sweden, from Switzerland, from France again. French Riviera, it's a specific part of France, but not only. There will be other French presenters. US with Harvard Medical School, the United Kingdom, and Italy, of course. So we're gonna have more and more, even wider international community for this afternoon. But a few words about what is the SOFA community currently. As you might know, there have been several companies created among the last years in the SOFA community, especially 7 of them. There is actually 4 in France and 3, 1 Canada, Ireland, and Germany. You was able to, you had the opportunity this morning to see the presentation of Insimo, which is one of those companies. This afternoon, right after this part, we're going to have the presentation of Infinitec 3D, which is working in collaboration with Follow Haptics for creating a simulation, coupling the SOFA simulation with very, I would say, latest piece of technology for haptics, affordable, reliable, and so on, developed by Follow. So that's really what we are looking for making this community to grow, is to have companies working collaboratively with other companies or with academics. That's exactly the kind of partnership we'd like to see. And something which is quite important, some of you are actually looking for jobs, some others are looking for hiring people. That's actually most of the companies in the SOFA community are looking for new profiles and applications. So do not forget that there is a dedicated job page on the SOFA framework website, which is really dedicated on all jobs available on SOFA. You can go and have a look. The page is kept up to date, and for the companies, never hesitate to provide us adding the link in the chat if you like. For the companies, never hesitate to advertise your open positions. And again, as a candidate, never hesitate neither to maybe ask for having your profile promoted on the job web page. It would be also an option. I think we can really exploit more this kind of this aspect of the network for making profiles going from one place to another, or collaborations and so on. So do not hesitate to ask for more, getting in the LinkedIn group and so on. So, as you know, there is a team of engineers working in what is called the SOFA open source consortium. We are taking care of the maintenance, industrialization, making sure that people are not developing the same plugin twice, 3 times in the different teams. What we call actually coordination of developments, making sure that the version of SOFA is continuously improving, and something that we do, especially on the forum or on events like today, is animating and supporting the community. What is important for us, really, the key word for, I would say, the key idea to keep in mind is really that the SOFA consortium is a third-party organization where our only purpose is to make sure that the work that you are doing for industrial purposes or for academic purposes, all that we are looking for is that you achieve to do the best simulation possible with SOFA, and to give us all the feedback necessary so that your experience with SOFA is only improved among the months and among the years. So that's really the role of this SOFA consortium. We are quite happy because first, we've got reliable partners, which are first Kyungpook National University, Asan Medical Center. We had the chance to have Professor Choi this morning with us. Fraunhofer supporting us since a long time ago with Tim Push, who is in the audience as well, and University of Florida. So that's partners that with INRIA are supporting us, and that kind of support by becoming SOFA Consortium members, it actually convinced INRIA to go further and to say, okay, we see that there is a trend growing around SOFA, around simulation coupling with AI, simulation coupled with haptics, with robotics, soft robotics. There is a trend, and INRIA supports it, and they decided to add a third engineer that we are extremely happy to and proud to have among us, which is Frédéric Roy. He's in the audience as well. Some of you might know him. And what I wanted to say with this, new engineer, new workforces, that comes when that is only possible because there is some criteria of success that are visible for INRIA and for our partners. First, we have consortium members, people that are supporting us financially, but there is also people that are supporting SOFA by contributions. As you might have seen previously, first, Insimo is going to release codes open sourcely, so that's exactly the kind of things we are welcoming, and which is very, I would say, positively perceived by INRIA and by our partners. The same for Infinitec 3D. You see, you have all here the main contributors of the last 6 months. CNRS, obviously, Infinitec 3D, University of Strasbourg, CSIRO, University of Verona. We're going to have a talk from University of Verona today. So thank you, UCA. Thank you to all those partners for also contributing, not necessarily financially, but as well in terms of contribution. Citing papers, citing SOFA in your papers, it's awesome. That's something that we love because we are discovering new applications and new people using SOFA, so that's always welcomed by the community as well. And the involvement of the community for instance, today's event or even tomorrow, like the technical committee, is also something that our partners are actually paying attention to check really who is actually coming, who is involving and committing in the project. We also do welcome donations for all the companies that could be interested. So that's what we want really, the message we want to send is never hesitate to get back to us. But what matters to us is any kind of effort you are doing for the open source project, mentioning the project in your papers, in your communications on the social media, or you're creating new plugins, which is, I think, really awesome. All those kind of things, it's actually your own way, but it means you're active, and it will be really noticed by the whole community, and especially in INRIA. So this is a support for us. So never hesitate to get back to us and say, hey, guys, we have done this paper, you did not talk about that, or we have done this video, or we have done this plugin. we would be always happy to promote your work. Your support is needed on a financial standpoint, obviously, but most importantly, it's the open source project in general, financially and in terms of contribution and activity. So that's really what we are looking for. So by just judging those criteria, as I said before, the more activity there will be, the more developments there will be, the more communication there will be, the more development forces there will be also dedicated on the open source part. As I said a bit earlier, later this afternoon, so it's in Central European time, but at 5 p.m. CET, there will be the award ceremony. There have been 6 candidates contributing to the project and proposing their contributions as award candidates. So please do not hesitate to go and vote directly for the project you actually prefer. I can actually set the link again here. It was just above in the chat, but in any case, please find it here. I see that Damien wants to say something. Damien, do not hesitate to let us know. So, yeah, I don't see anything appearing. That's the 6 candidate projects that have been the 6 candidate contributions that have been submitted for this 2020 edition of the SOFA Week. First, the first one in my list is actually the project which is called Run SOFA 2, which has been developed by Bruno Marques at the Defrost team. It's actually a new graphical user interface, and this new graphical user interface is made for building in an efficient and interactive manner new simulation. It has been made for soft robotics, but it's actually not limited to, based on the Qt Quick library, and it allows, for instance, to make scene graph editing, live coding. There is also possibility to load prefab, so some kind of prefabricated pieces of simulation. So it's a very interesting project. The second one is actually the one that has been presented earlier by Younes, which is the COSRA plugin. It's a plugin developed again by the Defrost team and in collaboration with the Khalifa University, especially Federico Renda. And it introduces, as you have noticed this morning, a new model of beam. It's not using anymore the Timoshenko formulation, but instead the COSRA theory that Younes presented. It's considering now only, rigid solids, articulated. It can be considered as articulated solids, and this wire-like structure will be then, you can define the mechanical model or other properties like inextensibility, like constraints, and it's very well suited for cables, for instance. It's used a lot, again, in soft robotics, but not only. Second project. Third one is something that we like because it's something new for the community. Contribution from Italy coming for proposing a tutorial on how to build a simulation, especially for the people starting with SOFA. A tutorial to explain how to build a simulation involving interactions between a rigid object and a soft object, especially when you have, for instance, interaction, contacts, collisions, problems. You have 2 ways of solving that kind of approaches. It will be by penalty methods or using the Lagrange multiplier-based method. And this tutorial will show you for one or the other methods, and even a third one which is described, how should actually the scene look like. So we love the idea of having that kind of open source minded tutorial that's much appreciated. Fourth project, which is SOFA RHI, it's a project which aims at basically, I don't know if you have noticed that, but we have now in SOFA an interface for visualization, which are called the draw tools, and it possibly allows to use not only OpenGL, but other kind of rendering interfaces. And OpenGL is actually gradually becoming deprecated, and that will be more and more the case in the future. For instance, that's what iOS did for the forthcoming of Vulkan. There was this decision of making OpenGL becoming deprecated. So there was the need of connecting SOFA possibly to other rendering libraries, and that was is proposing this plugin developed by Frédéric, which is called RHI, stands for Rendering Hardware Interface. So this might be a plugin very useful for the future that relies on the, for the moment, private library of Qt, but that might be very, very useful in the future for rendering. The fifth one is actually a set of pull requests made by Eric Pernaut from Infinitec 3D. We're going to have a talk in a few minutes, and it's a set of improvements on the Geomagic haptic device and an improvement of the code of the LCP force feedback, especially checks on how consistent are actually the forces returned by this LCP force feedback, which is the component used when you want to make haptic simulation with a force feedback. And last but not least, there is the contribution that just arrived this weekend, which is about plastic beam elements. You know that in SOFA there is already a beam model, not the KOSRA one, but the one based on the Timoshenko beam model, which is called Beam FEM Force Field. And it was only elastic. And Camille Krukun decided to, in the context of his PhD, implemented it further with a plastic mechanical behavior. Again, we like this kind of contributions, going even into the development of SOFA, open-minded, and you will see that it allows to simulate model stand deployment in arteries. We'll have a presentation about that later on.